2021 meeting of the Recreation Education Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Chairman Alcoffer.
Here.
Mr. Baines.
Here.
Ms. White.
Here.
Mr. Flagler Mitchell.
Here.
And Mr. Keller.
Here.
Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
There is none.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. We have the August 23rd, 2021 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Mr. Clerk.
21-0344, acceptance of a grant from the Institute of Museum and Library Services to update the guest experience at the Seneca Park Zoo Animal Hospital.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Boyce, seconded by legislator Keller. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Hopper, one question. Is this a new grant,
Yes.
Mr. Chair? I don't
Is
recall.
there anyone from administration?
Mr. Chair, yes, it is a new grant.
Could you, I could not hear you. Could you speak up?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, it is a new grant.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Are there any other questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
21-0345, acceptance of a grant from the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation for the Snowmobile Trail Development and Maintenance Program, and authorized contracts with Hilton Snow Flyers, Inc., Webster Ridge Runner Snowmobile Club, Inc., Salmon Creek Snowmobile Club, Inc., and Hill and Gully Riders, Inc. for the development and maintenance of trails.
So moved.
Motion
Move
by,
it.
motion by legislator Keller, seconded by legislator Boyce. Is there any discussion? Legislator Kelvin Lee?
No.
So, Flagler Mitchell, I'm reading your nameplate.
Yeah, a
Sorry.
little bit more hair
Go ahead, legislator. Go ahead, legislator.
Just due to the administration, why was the funding decreased from the referral from last year? Or from the last referral, sorry.
Yes, yes, legislator. Through the chair, the amount of this award is based upon a amount of work that was submitted at each of the snowmobile clubs that are recipients in this grant need to document trail maintenance efforts and submit that to New York State Parks. There's an online system they use just to document days and times, activities they did out there. There was significantly less work documented by, in particular, one of the clubs within Monroe County that does work under this grant, so they got less money as a result.
Thank you.
Legislator Boyce.
Yes, through the chair. Can you give me any information with regards to how, in the communities, how is this still being accepted? And has there been any issues with people going off trail?
I'm sorry, through the chair, legislator, I missed the very beginning of your
I
question.
said, how is this being accepted in the community? I know it's the 12th year. I was here in the infancy of it. So I'm just kind of wondering how it's being accepted in the communities. It's still, people are still good with it, the snowmobiles being on the trail.
Yeah, through the chair, legislator, I guess I'd say, I hear more from the folks who are putting in for the grant money, so from the clubs themselves. They're a bit biased, obviously, they like getting the money, they like being on the trails, so I hear mostly positive stuff. I've heard very few complaints, I'm trying to think if I've actually ever heard a complaint from anyone about this grant or about any use of snowmobiles on local trails. I don't think I've personally ever heard one.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item.
21-0358. Authorize
Okay, go ahead. I apologize.
Authorize an increase to the contract with Greater Rochester Visitors Association, Inc. to provide management, planning, and production of the Monroe County Bicentennial Celebration and authorize an interdepartmental appropriation transfer.
Move it, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Moved by legislator Boyd, second by legislator Keller. Legislator Fletcher Mitchell.
Just to you to the administration, what kind of events are being planned for the bicycle?
Did you hear that what events are being planned?
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, 1 second. Through the chair, that's what this agreement is for, to come up with events that will attract people in the community and better serve, better events. And we'll know more after this contract starts.
Thank you.
Legislator Boyce.
Yes, through the chair. Could you tell me how and why that Fund Center 510-301-0000 was chosen to transfer?
Mr. Chairman, in reviewing the budget across a number of departments, we were trying to identify available unencumbered administrative type appropriations, and this one quickly came to my attention. So the goal really was to look for an available administrative type appropriation for this contract, and then this one jumped out, Mr. Chairman.
So, through the chair, Mr. Franklin, I do not have the budget in front of me. Can you tell me what this number is referring to as far as administrative? What, do you give me a title?
Mr. Chairman, this particular fund center, 510301, is within our Department of Human Services, specifically the Financial Assistance Division, and it's their administrative cost center. So this particular cost center would accumulate budget items for the administrative costs in managing the Financial Assistance Division. It may include state chargeback budget items, contractual services such as armored car service pickup. It could include administrative contracts regarding the oversight of employment services, and other administrative oversight contracts of the like.
Well, based on that, I'm not sure that I'd be inclined to vote in favor of this. I mean, it doesn't set well with me, taking money out of Department of Human Services to do a planning for the bicentennial. Just doesn't sound right.
Is there any further discussion on this matter?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Legislator Daines.
Through you to the administration. Isn't the Community Contingency Fund product of this exact same movement of dollars in the budget? In that case, $2.5 million harvested from budget codes.
Mr. Chairman, if the legislator is asking, was a similar process used to identify funds to create the Community Contingency Fund? Not Not exactly, Mr. Chairman. The creation of the Community Contingency Fund was a broad brush sweep of a variety of budget accounts within the general fund. This was a much more targeted effort, specifically looking at administrative type appropriations that are going unused. One reason this particular cost center jumped out, many may not realize that the federal government in New York State has waived work requirements for public assistance programs. So there are a number of budgeted contracts that are not being utilized, making these appropriations available for transfer.
Mr. Chair. If I still have the floor.
Mr. Baines, go ahead.
So through you to the administration, yes, my question did not import or imply that it was the precise rationale, but in general terms, the idea of finding dollars, or people believing they're finding them and reusing them was applied here. So you would say that in this case, it was more strategic through you to the administration?
Mr. Chairman, my apologies if I misunderstood the original question, but as you re-summarized it, I would agree with that statement. Thank you.
Thank you. I yield the floor.
Are there any further, excuse me, is there any further discussion on this matter? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is not approved.
Mr. Chair, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Roll call vote.
1 to 4. Or, I'm sorry. Mr. Baines,
No, excuse me, yes.
Ms. Boyce,
No.
Mr. Flagler Mitchell,
No.
Mr. Heller,
No.
and Chairman Alcott.
Please.
1, 2, 4 failed.
Motion is not approved. It fails. Next item, Jim.
21-0362, authorized license and operating agreements for the Seneca Park Zoo Society Inc. and SSA Group LLC for the Seneca Park Zoo.
Mr. Chair.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made by legislator Keller and second by legislator Boyce. Discussion. Legislator Boyce.
Yes, through the chair. Can you tell me who will be running the daytime programs at the zoo?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, it is a combination of the county employees, SSA, and Seneca Park Zoo Society. Are you referring to the education programs or the daytime events?
Yeah, a combination thereof, through the chair.
Yes, through the chair, it's education events will be operated by the Seneca Park Zoo Society. Daytime events, things like Zubu, things like that, are conducted through a joint effort from Seneca Park Zoo Society, SSA, and the county.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on this motion or matter? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? There being no other matters, the September 27th, 2021 meeting of the Recreation Education Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Recreation Education Committee will be on Monday, October 25th, 2021 at 6 o'clock. Thank you.